video, we're going to create a Windows Update server. It's part of the reason is you can then control which updates are applied beyond just controlling how frequently they are installed. The installation procedure is very similar for the other servers. A couple things to consider when you're creating a WSUS server is, are you going to consider storing the updates on the server? In which case, I don't know how much storage you may actually need or how quick that storage may need to be to deliver that stuff to your clients. In my particular case, I'm merely going to download the indexes or the libraries of the updates and then approve or disapprove them. The machines in this network will then reach out to the internet and download the updates. To join our directory server, we're still going to need to set a static DNS record, as we are currently not controlling DHCP. After the VMware install will reboot. Let's join our domain. And we'll reboot to complete joining the domain. Now we can log into our domain and install the Windows Update Server services. I think it's Windows Server Update Services. It's role-based. It's at the very bottom here, Windows Server Update Services. And we're going to uncheck storing locally here. And previously we chose using a default database. It takes a while to install. That has been greatly sped up. In this window, I wasn't quite sure which products to select, as the versions of Windows 10 are somewhat confusing. I'm going to have to go look them up. As you see, I stuck with the dynamic update. Hopefully that's the right choice. And base Windows 10 options seem to make sense. I kept Windows Defender and Dictionary updates and Server 2012 R2. The defaults at the classifications. And then I began a synchronization, which took quite a while to complete. At this point, I attempt to administer it remotely from our RSAC computer, or our Windows Remote Administration computer. I go down to Administrative Tools and add the Windows Update Server tool. Now let's go create a GPO to deploy the WSUS server to our client machines. I apply it to the root of our forest and I enforce it. Under Policies, Administrative Templates, Windows Update. Takes me a moment to find the right option. Security is currently not enabled on our update server. You can confirm the website address by going to the base page on the WSUS server in the Remote Administration console. I enter in my server address into all fields. I enable a policy to automatically download the updates. This way I can choose to approve them, and the computers are just set to apply them. Do a GP update force to hopefully force the group policy. But as I'll start to see through some of my troubleshooting, it is not very effective. I run updates on the client machine to hopefully trigger it to talk to my update server. It's at this point that the update server starts having some connectivity issues remotely, so I go to the update server directly. I begin entering the domain controllers and having them update their GPOs to see if they register as well. As you can see, even on the WSUS server, the service disconnected. At this point, I'm giving it 2 more CPUs and more memory. From the dashboards, we'll go to Tools to manage our services. It looks like the synchronization is already continuing. The computers have not shown up yet, it appears. I'm just changing the status to ensure that I'm detecting any machines because I haven't yet put them into any categories. Using GP result, we can see what GPOs are being applied and verify that the WSUS GPO is actually working on my machine. I go in to verify the settings. Looks good to me. Maybe a reboot will trigger it. Try using GP update force. See if the computers start to appear. No luck yet. Now that some updates are starting to appear, I'm going to approve them for all the computers. This does take some time. This is greatly sped up. You can check the registry to verify if the update server setting has taken. An H key local machine and software, policies, Microsoft, Windows. You'll see Windows Update. It appears the setting is there, even though the computer is not in the system yet. I'll run for some updates. Now my machine is running slightly slow, so I decide to change its settings by force. I'll give it 4 CPUs and 8 gigs of memory. I decide to manually log into the domain controllers and see if I can get them to synchronize. Looks like some computers appeared. There we go. 3 out of my computers are in the system. The WSUS server has not recognized itself. I'll have to run GP update on it. Let's create some groups to add the computers to, as you would want to apply certain updates to certain groups. The synchronization does take some time. I noticed the machines take a little bit of time to update, and they actually seem to power off their screen. So I put in a GPO to change their performance setting and change off their sleep settings, in the hopes that that doesn't happen. All of our systems are showing. I too have to change and adjust the time zone at one point. I realize it's off on some of the servers, and that can cause an issue. At this point, I'm just trying to get all the machines as up to date as possible, and to show the process on how it will look on the Windows Server Services window. Just jumping in and out of machines, running updates. We continue approving any of the updates that we're getting. As you can see, it's starting to report a fair amount of installs. And as you can see, we're starting to report a somewhat high percentage of installs. A little difficult to get them all to go in. And yeah, we ended there without getting them all fully installed.